Hello. I think we are live. Hello. Can you just confirm if you can hear me, guys? Hello. And if you can see me? Hello. I hear me. You can hear you and see you. Perfect. Okay. All right. Great. Cool. I think let's wait for 2 more minutes. I'm expecting a couple of more people to join before we start. Thanks for confirming Nadia Test Cloud. I know who is this person. Hi, Deepak. All right, guys. So let me wait for like 2 more minutes and I'll start it. Hi, Satya. Thanks for joining. Cool. Perfect. Thank you. Thanks for confirmation. Oh, and you're commenting from LinkedIn. So I just confirmation from LinkedIn as well. Thanks a lot. Hi. People are messaging me on WhatsApp instead of that. If you can join on. All right. Let's see. Okay, I think we can start. For hi, Miklos. Hi, Manish. Yeah, there is a specific agenda and it's very broad. You can ask everything. It was named as anything, but agenda is to ask everything to him. I'll in next 5-10 seconds I'll start and then you will know the agenda. Gaurav Rana is here. Hello. Perfect. So let's get started. Thanks. All right. So they say that showing lamp to sun or throwing water in bucket into the ocean, it's either it's an innocence or it's craziness. Hi, my name is Sachin Sharma, and I welcome you all in the one of its own kind of show on TTC. I'm sure you have been following this channel. You have seen a lot of shows, and you have seen a single face as a host for this entire, different shows that we have. Today it's gonna be different because I am the host. I have never hosted any show on TTC, but the speciality of this show is the person whom I'm gonna host is the most popular, famous, most articulated, most he's most capable host of this industry, not only for TTC, but then in other channels also he has hosted a couple of shows, panel discussions and all. We all know him. When we were discussing about this idea of having AMA with him, so I said that I'm not going to get any better opportunity to feel this experience of how somebody feels when he hosts to someone who is very intelligent for the industry where we are part of. And then I said, okay, I'll do it. Right. So you know about whom I'm talking about. So let's welcome him. I'm not going to say more about because everyone knows him. Today I'm going to uncover a couple of different facets. We have divided things. I have planned something to ask him. So let's see how it goes. But it's my pleasure to welcome Mr. Brijesh Dev. Brijesh, can we have you on screen, please? Perfect. Hi, Namaste, Brijesh.
Namaste.
So
Namaste, everyone.
I started I started saying that it's for me it's like showing lamp to sun, or it's like I'm throwing a small water into ocean. But how are you feeling when you are sitting on the other side of the game? By the way, welcome to the show, and how are you feeling, Brijesh?
Well, thank you so much, Sachin. Different experience to be on the other side, but don't forget, I still have the mic. So I still
Uh,
have the mic. So yeah. Well, it's really nice to be on the other side. Yeah.
Perfect. Great. So, just to let audience the agenda and the format is very similar to all the AMAs. You can ask anything and everything that you want. I'll be asking a couple of questions that I've made, but then whenever you get time or get interest in the talk, you can ask your question, and I'll be taking those questions. There are the pointers which I mean, I'll just tell you the agenda part of it. I have divided this entire discussions into a couple of segments that I wanted to ask him, because testing being one of the part, he is actually discussing, but there are other things which are apart from testing, and he's been writing and talking about them. So I'll be covering all of these things. Great. So, Bridges, to start with, I think everybody and most of the people are accidental tester, we know, and you are also one of them. I think 99% of people are like this. So we know how you become tester. But one thing which I want to know, and there are two questions together I'm asking, is you were developer and you changed your career path to testing. There were other options as well. Then why testing? That's my first question. And second, cascaded question to that, why still testing after 20 years of experience? I have people who are writing me after 4 or 5 years of experience, they want to change their track to some other field, BASM. They said that I am doing automation since 3 4 years, now I can be a developer. Why still testing?
Sachin, there was an audio issue. Could you repeat that in the
Oh,
last part? Yeah.
okay, so my question is, why testing, and then why still testing?
Okay. So you are absolutely right. I am also one of those accidental testers. I began my journey as a content developer, then became a developer, then moved on to testing. And it was accidentally because my manager one day decided that there's nobody to test. So he asked me if I could do it. As always, I've always been skeptical about taking up something new or, to any new technology that comes up. Testing also, I was very skeptical as like, will it work for me? How does it work? I don't know. I have so many questions. And I jumped into that's a very good question. Well, I'll answer that as well.
Yeah.
Okay, so I jumped into testing and fell in love with it. Okay, very simple thing is I fell in love with it, and I've stuck to it because it allows me to give wings to my imagination. It fuels
Mm-hmm.
curiosity, and both imagination and curiosity have fed my capabilities so far. So that's the reason why I've stuck on to it. I've felt more and more capable as I've imagined more, expected more, been more curious, asked a lot of questions. It has allowed me to learn a lot. Testing allows me to keep learning constantly, not just about the products, but about the processes, but about people. I was always interested to know about how people behave, how people interact, how people you know ask different questions or deal with different situations or behave differently, and that has led me to do a lot of work there. Anthropology is one of the subjects that I'm fond of, and I love studying people and human behavior, and that has led me to do a lot of research in terms of user experience as well.
Yeah.
So now user experience testing is one popular area. So you see, testing has endless possibilities, and To answer your question, Sachin, it's that love for testing that never goes, which keeps me stuck on. So if you're asking me why still testing, well, the love remains, the curiosity still remains. I learn more because there is a lot to learn. There is a lot of opportunities to play around. There are thousands and thousands of apps available you can play around with,
Yeah.
and that's my favorite pastime. Just download an app from the Play Store and just mess around with it. Find some bugs, report them back to the developer. If they pay me for it, good. If they don't, then they will improve the product. It benefits somebody else. Well, and I've had my fun, so why not? So
That's
somebody,
great.
why not testing? Well, that is the thing.
No, I think one point that you said is your curiosity is helping or complementing your capabilities to do this, and that's how this love is growing. I think people need to take advice from this, because I mean, nobody should think of leaving testing because they want to achieve something else. They can be in testing and do things like you're saying you have been doing those parts. So yeah. uh, Nothing called manual. Okay, all right. So nobody can avoid these questions. I know he is inventor of it. How? I mean, so nothing called manual testing is one thing that shows that you as a person can, uh, you know, comment on any particular nomenclature or terminology and say it's nothing, which is already a very stable terminology people are using nowadays. Uh, how successful you are in penetrating this thought into industry that there is nothing called manual testing? How? What do you think? How it is going with you?
Well, when I came into this show, I thought that nobody's going to ask me about it. But I think, well, I think that was the biggest myth that I have carried, that nobody will ask me. Gaurav, I don't. I am father of my son. I don't know if I am father of nothing called manual tech. Yes, I started using this hashtag. And to clarify, why did I use this hashtag? So, about 3 years ago, I wrote a post, and those days LinkedIn had a post limit of 1,300 characters, and I was somehow falling short for 4 or 5 characters. So what I thought was, because I had these words separate, okay, nothing called, there is nothing called manual testing. So I removed the blank spaces between them, joined them, and made a hashtag out of it, and it grew to 4 characters. So that is how the hashtag was born. But that particular post had about 150,000 views in 3 hours. It suddenly became viral, and I didn't realize what happened. And suddenly, this hashtag became very popular. Well, the only message that I wanted to give was that you should not be dividing testing purely on the basis of the way you execute it, like say using any tools or not using any tools. That was the only message that I wanted to give. But that made me think. The post going viral, people's reaction, the comments on the post, that really made me think. And I've been following a lot of leaders, such as James Bach, Michael Bolton, Pradeep Pondarajan. Okay, and a lot of them in very different forums had stressed the need of calling testing as testing itself. Automation is a tool, or you choosing not to use any commercially available tools to execute your test doesn't matter. At the end of the day, you are testing, and that is what remains. So, yeah, there is some background noise coming. I think from both our sides. Both of us have little kids at home, so so you might have to bear with that little noise. Sorry, Gaurav, if it's too much, but that's something that we have to live in the day and age of doing remote or working remotely. But nevertheless, coming back, yeah. So emphasizing the fact that when you test, you rely on tools sometimes, you rely on code sometimes, which is fine, but that is still a tool. That is not the end goal. The end goal is testing. and that's how it should be referred to. It should not be bifurcated on the basis of how you execute it, because when you talk about testing, it is a conglomerate of a lot of activities that go in. Okay, right from your design to your critical thinking, your systems thinking, your risk identification, analysis, and all of that, to all of these activities, if you start adding you know, the adverb manual, you don't make a lot of sense. See, even if somebody is writing automation code, they are writing it with their hands. You don't call them manual coder, right? So why this classification for testers? I mean, this terminology probably came into the existence when some of the tools came in. When Sachin is trying to do some experiments with the video. Well, some of these tools came in, and they wanted to make sure that they put across a point that if you use these tools, the execution will be faster. Faster compared to what? So they said faster compared to doing those test cases by yourself. So doing those test cases by yourself, they wanted to find one single word for it, and that's how this was born. And that's how the term manual came into existence, and ever since then it has stuck into the industry. It's been almost 30 years, which is almost two generations of people. So coming to your question, Sachin, in terms of penetrating, I don't know how successful I have been. I have managed to make sure that when people talk to me, they don't use this term, which is something that that I like. Okay, I
Oh,
have survived in this.
even if they use, they actually see if Brijesh Dev is in audience, or if you are, they actually tag it. There are a lot of main
They are very
main
careful about the usage. That is the amount of penetration I have. But I can tell you from my side, I have been very successful in not using this word for many
Hmm.
years now in my conversations with customers, with users. I don't use this term, and I've been doing pretty well. I'm really really proud of myself for not using this term, and I don't think this actually makes a difference. People say, "Oh, it's a word; it expresses a lot. What's in a word?" And it's been there. People use it. So what's the harm? The harm is not in the word. The harm is in the change in the behavior that that is there in people who use it. For example, you will see that in the industry, people with coding knowledge are treated differently. So somehow, who's
Hmm.
not using these tools, or somebody, I'm taking the liberty of using the word, somebody who's classified as a manual tester is looked down upon, and that is something that I don't approve of. Okay, there is a big pay grade difference, and that comes in from the fact that, okay, somebody using knowing coding gets way more than somebody who's not using code. But if you
Right.
talk about the level of intellect, I don't think there is a lack of intellect in that person. Okay,
Correct.
curiosity is there. People are curious. People are critical thinkers. Those are the things that matter. So if you are just stuck upon the word manual, and you are getting biased towards people who are writing code, that's not fair. If you look at the market right now, almost everyone is writing code.
Yeah.
Some people choose to use it, some people don't choose to use it, which is fine, right? If you talk about automation, a simple thing such as applying a formula in Excel is also automation. So almost everybody is doing it. Okay, so just to say that somebody is not using a tool in the market and is a manual tester and is looked down upon, you create a separate category for them. You call them button clickers or whatever, and look down upon them. It's not fair, and that is my objection to the word manual, or to the use of it. Okay,
Yeah.
and,
And Brijesh, talking about the impact, I remember a few days back, there's this person called Akshay Gadkari. He has made a specific video that he was using these terms, manual testing, and now he understood. So knowledge came, and now he realized that this is not the word. So he clarified that how. So I'm talking about the impact how this particular hashtag has made on people.
I know
Great.
a lot of people are talking about it. I see a lot of posts. Okay, there has been a lot of criticism on hashtag nothing
Yeah.
called manual testing, which
Yeah.
is fine. Okay, which is fine. The world is entitled to have their opinion. Okay, everybody has an opinion. Everybody will express their point of view, which is absolutely fine. Okay,
Yeah.
as far as I am concerned, I don't use the term. I have not used it in my lingo. I have not used it in front of my customers for many years. I have been doing pretty well in dealing with customers. My customers have been very happy not using the term. Okay, because we've never felt the need for it. It is not required.
Yeah.
When you're just talking about testing, just talk about testing. Why specifically say, oh, I am a manual tester or we need manual testing? You don't have to.
Right.
You don't need to. That's it.
Right, of course. Thank you for this explanation. I mean, I know in every show people are asking this, and it is important to ask because every time this thought has to be, refreshed so that they understand what is the core ideology behind it. I have this question, and I think it is very important to understand what keeps you going. So the person is asking, how do you find the sheer willpower to continue when it is obvious a lot of people are not even using the knowledge they have gained either from the TTC or from you as a leader? So what is that which helps you to keep going? And you are doing it continuously since I know you. So what is that particular thing that you have?
Um, okay, my core belief or my core value that I got from my mother is the power of altruism, and altruism is thinking about others, and it gives you a special joy when you think about others, when you see others succeed, when you are a catalyst in enabling others to succeed. There is no fulfillment that is going to match. No amount of money, no title, nothing is going to ever match that. Because when you leave this planet, your legacy will be that altruism. You will be remembered for what you have contributed. Yeah, those who have died rich or died with a big title, they are also remembered, not for so long. But somebody who's contributed, somebody who's done a lot, is always remembered, and people have a smile when they talk about that person. And that is something that has always driven me. When my mother told me stories about it when I was growing up, it has always motivated me. So I've always believed in the power of giving, and that's why I keep doing. I keep sharing whatever I know in whatever capacity, and I try to make it as simple as possible for people to understand, because ultimately that is for the people, right? If I use complicated jargon, if I use complicated terminology, then it is useless. But if I can explain it in a language that people can understand easily and can use it whenever they want, then why not? And I am thankful to a lot of people who have come back to me and said that that knowledge has been beneficial.
Yeah.
Either in life, or help them in clearing interviews, or is helping them do their jobs better. I get messages from people that is so fulfilling. That is so enriching. That is something that drives me. Okay, that was the idea why we got together and started TTC, and now we are, doing these shows, talking to a lot of people. So that's my motivation.
Wow, that's really beautiful. I mean, the way you said, and thanks for being such an enabler for us who are also called as enabler for this community. But you are enabling everyone who is part of it, the contributor, volunteers, speakers, enablers, the people who want to go into conferences. You are helping them as well. So you are a true enabler, of course.
I'll
So,
tell you something, Sachin. Everyone,
okay.
everyone, every single one of you, every single one sitting in the audience is an enabler. It is just that
Of
you have
course.
to recognize that value, that power in you,
Right.
which helps you enable either yourself or others to
True.
achieve something.
True that. Yep. I agree with this. So, Brijesh, you mentioned one point that you believe in talking about complex things in very simple language so that people can understand, relate, and go beyond to get the knowledge for it. There is one topic which is people say simple, but it is actually complex, and you are evangelist for it. I'm talking about agile. So there is one perception, or I mean, I have been seeing you talking about this term, and people know you that you are well-known agilist. uh, I know a bit about this term as well, and I have spent a few, years in learning about agile. agile, I have seen that it's too much closer or driven towards the development or programming point of view. But you and there are few more people who are very much aligned with the ideology or the philosophy that agile is also for testers. How testers should feel proud of doing agile and not feel like okay it's for developer but we have to follow because we are part of the team. I mean I have seen these questions being asked, so I do not want to ask you what is agile and how you do it. It's known to everyone. I just want you to how you relate agile, developer and tester. It's that difference of agile is like this, you know, sun, earth and then Pluto. So how you relate that the tester is also in the same you know that ring where developers are also. How you relate this thing?
Well, Sachin, for somebody like you who's an expert in agile asking me this question, it's kind of it's a question that you should be answering because you are more of an expert on agile than me. But since you've put me on the spot, I will try to answer to the best of my ability. So agile is a way of working, okay, and agility is a mindset to have.
Right.
Right? Agile is just a way of working. It's a way of working which is driven by culture, which is driven by
Hmm.
certain principles, certain values. Now, when it's a way of working doesn't distinguish who is adapting to it, whether it is a developer,
Hmm.
tester, a business analyst, or whoever, a stakeholder, a CEO, doesn't matter. Right? It's just that adoption that has to come in, that belief in the values and the principles that go. People talk about the Agile Manifesto. I don't know how many people have actually read it. Teams have gone to establishing Agile or adopting Agile without even referring to the Agile Manifesto once. Okay, you ask them, they will proudly say, "Oh, we are an Agile house." But then if you ask them, "Okay, what is the Agile Manifesto?" They don't know anything about it. You ask them how
Right.
many principles are there in as per the Agile Manifesto, they can't say. Okay, you ask them what are the values that drive Agile, they can't say. It's just that they have heard of some Scrum terminology. Okay,
Yeah.
for example, a daily stand up or a retrospective or anything like that, and they just keep and say that okay, since we are probably agile. Now, agile is a cultural aspect, right? The entire organization's culture can change if you are agile enough. If you believe in the values of communication and collaboration, if you believe in the thought process that you can make a difference by considering the customer's opinion, by making sure that you are adaptive enough to respond to the changes, by making
Yeah.
sure that you are valuing the people more than processes and tools and things like that, by making sure that you look at what is your ultimate goal. It is to produce a working software rather than producing tons and tons and tons of useless documentation. Now,
Right.
in saying so, it is nowhere mentioned that you don't document at all, or you don't give any importance to processes, or you don't, there is no importance of tools or anything like that. So, the understanding the very fact that, okay, that manifesto with those few lines is there for a reason. While we value the items on the left, the items on the right also have their own importance.
Yeah.
So where to apply is a very important thing, right? To understand that, to how to get these values imbibed into a group of people is very important. So when you say agile tester as Pluto, no, it is not. Okay, it is still a part of the same ecosystem. We are a part of the same ecosystem, and that's why we are also referred to as development team. Now, testers take an offense to it, saying, "Oh, you're not calling testers separately.
Yeah.
You're saying developers, but you're not saying testers." No, you're all developers because you are developing a solution. You are all working collectively towards a solution to solve the customer's problem. Okay, just because
Right.
you're not being called out specifically, you have a doubt in your mind. And that is exactly the kind of skepticism I had when I began my journey with Agile in 2004. Okay, so for the past 19 years, I have been studying Agile and I'm still learning. And my initial reaction was that it is not going to work because there is no mention of testing, because nobody comes and tells you when to do integration testing. I followed the V model and I was like, V model doesn't have a scope in this. How will it work? When will people do system testing? When will people do UAT? What happens to unit testing? And I slowly understood that everything is well knit within the umbrella of various frameworks that are provided under Agile, whether you call it Scrum, whether you call it Kanban, Lean, Spotify, whatever you choose to call it. There are different, connotations to the way you behave, and that
Yeah.
behavioral aspect is very important. You know, Agile talks very strongly about people, and if you will want to learn about Agile, learn about people is what I say.
Yeah.
How,
Absolutely.
and in that people, the most important people are your customers, your end users. If you don't learn about them, it's going to be disastrous. And I say it in all the contexts. When you're building a product, think of the user. Look at how the user is going to use it. Understand the usage patterns, understand the behavior of the user, understand how they interact with the product. Just to give you an example, you buy a new TV. How many times have you pulled out that manual, that small booklet, and read through it before you start operating?
Never.
Do you know where that manual is in your house? Do you have it?
I don't know. No.
Nobody will have it. Many people buy mobile phones, just like that. Every 6 months, one new phone. Mobile phones also come with that booklet. How many times do we read?
Yeah.
We don't care. We just put our SIM card, switch it on. Nowadays, first thing is we do connect to Wi-Fi, say download WhatsApp, take a selfie and send it to our friends with my new mobile. That's it, right? You don't care about the user manual. So
Comprehensive
cannot
documentation or
you
working
cannot,
software.
yeah. So that documentation, it is meant for a reason, for you to help you
Right.
troubleshoot and set up and all of that. But people don't care, right? So it is this usage pattern that you will have to understand. As a user, what do you do? Your user will also do the same thing,
Right.
right? Unless you are building software which is for life and death. For example, a pacemaker software where you will need to follow a standard operating procedure, and that procedure
Mhm.
is well documented. And that connects
Right.
me to a point that I wanted to make about test cases. Okay, people go so much about test cases. Oh, if we don't have test cases, we won't survive. Why not? You don't need test cases for testing. Test cases is not equal to testing. For those who believe, well, I have survived in the industry without test cases for so many years.
Right. I read that article, with a very beautiful article you wrote on Medium, I guess, right? About the
10
10 pointers
reasons
why you
why
are
not
good.
to use test
It's
cases.
very beautiful article. I really appreciate that. I've been sharing this with people also because it has a very articulated pointers and that make complete sense to the people say it is theoretical, we are practically we need it and all this thing, but you have covered the practical points there. A very good article. Brijesh, so you talked about a lot of things which is related to, like, do not create documentation. You said that there has to be a entire education learning towards the user that are going to be using it. It is somewhere related to decision making, and you also talk about leadership a lot. You are mentor for leader, you yourself is leader for people like us. uh, so this leadership is you say sometimes that it's not a quality, it's a responsibility to somebody who is actually being. What is your suggestion or advice to somebody who want to be leader, and how you realize that you are a leader? I mean, we a lot of people call you, but how you realize that you are a leader and how somebody can be like you as a leader if they
You'll
want
be
to.
like me? Okay. Well, I say this quite often. Okay. Uh, Leadership is a ship that everyone wants to climb on these days. Okay. So that is one of those ships. Um, it's a very big word. and it's definitely not a quality but a lot of responsibility. When you are a leader, you are responsible for the people who look up to you.
Hmm.
It is
Right.
not necessarily followers, it is people looking up to you, setting examples. Okay, setting standards, setting a certain tone to life. Okay, you have
Yeah.
leaders at home, you have leaders in schools, colleges, uh, you have leaders at your workplace, you have leaders everywhere. And somebody was saying the other day that leadership skills, need can be learned. People are not born with it. Well, people are born leaders. It is up to a certain person, up to a particular person, as to how and when that person recognizes the value of it and chooses to hone those skills to take them to the next level.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay, that choice is very important. And you know it, you feel it from inside. When you see a lot of people coming to you for suggestions, following what you are saying, taking your example, saying, okay, you know what, you did this. If I try this in my situation, will it work? And
Hmm.
to give them the right advice, empower them if you are in a capacity to empower them, or enable them if you are in a capacity to do so, and say, okay, why don't you try it? I'm backing up. I'm backing you up on this one. Then when you do that, and when people find success, then people will start recognizing you as a leader. Okay. Now there is a lot of self-proclamation these days. A lot of people call themselves as leaders. I have a strong objection to that. I mean, if you are a leader, people will recognize you. People will spot those qualities because you know your responsibility will come out in a way where people are able to express themselves. People are able to achieve their goals. You are empowering them. You are supporting them. You are recognizing their value. Okay. One of the things that I want to give an example of, Sachin, is in our offices uh, we have managers, and we have some people who are leaders who may not be in the title or the designation of a manager. It's
Right.
important to understand that difference. What people think is when I'm getting that test lead role, I become a leader, or when I become an engineering manager, I automatically become a leader. No, you don't. You just get that title.
Yeah.
Stop differentiating or stop accepting people as leaders when they have a title. A title is different.
Right.
Okay, not everybody with a title is a leader. Then that's why when people say, leadership team, they refer to as the senior management team as leadership team. I take strong objection, and in my vocabulary, I never use it like that because I don't think everybody in that is a leader just because you call it like that. You have chosen to call it that. Okay, it's a
Right.
chosen title or a group for a group that you have chosen. Not necessarily that everybody is a leader there. For being a leader, you must showcase your responsibility. You must be in a position to empower people. You must be in a position to lead from the front, or sometimes take the back seat and let your team do the work while you are behind them, saying, you know what, I am in agreement with your decisions. I am in support of your actions. I value the results that you have given. Okay, I am taking the responsibility. There is a very famous story, and I want to try to repeat it. I am not as good as the person who narrated the story himself, and it is a story from Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. Okay, our former president, the great leader. Okay, the great
Yeah.
great leader. Now he was talking about his days at the ISRO, where he was in charge of the GSLV, or the satellite launch vehicle, launch, where despite some communication systems error, he agreed and decided that the rocket should take off, and it burst. Okay, it never took off. So that time, Dr. Satish Dhawan, who was the head of ISRO, he said, "You know what? I will go and face the media." And he said, I take the responsibility of this failure. Okay, my team did their best. There was something that happened, and I take the responsibility that it went bad. Okay.
Oh.
Within 1 year, we will come back and we will deliver the results he promised to the country. And within about 8, 9 months, they were ready for the next launch. It went into the orbit and it did its work. And that time, Dr. Dhawan asked Dr. Kalam to say, and said, now that you have tasted success, now you have been successful, now you go and face the media. Because the success belongs to you. Okay. And at the time of the failure, I, being the leader, will take the blame for the failure. Now, that is what I mean by taking responsibility. And that is one example that I always remember. And I watch that video time and again on YouTube because it reminds me, every time I watch it, it reminds me what I need to do as a leader.
Yeah.
You mentioned about, somebody asked me about, talking in or driving TTC or being constantly out there and pushing a message. This is the value that helps me drive that. That sense of responsibility that I have knowledge, I have to share, I have to make sure that people learn things the right way, learn the right things, have the right resources, have the right tools to help them get better in their jobs, get them that position that they have been looking for, fulfill their aspirations. That is something that I constantly think about. And that is something that I think that leaders who are in that position should constantly be thinking. Okay, leadership does not come from a title. Leadership comes with a lot of responsibilities. People need to remember it. And it is you who need to recognize that skill in you and have to polish it over a period of time. That's my
Absolutely.
take.
Yeah, and that's a very inspiring story. Thanks for sharing it, Brijesh. And you also mentioned one point when we talk about this corporate hierarchical part. I know there are people who know the difference between leader they have to follow and leader they want to follow. And it is not related to designation, it's about the capability of how you lead people. Thanks for sharing that story. I'll go in detail and also see it because I remember there is one movie of Mangalyaan. There also they have a very good leadership lessons in this entire movie as well. I want to change the direction of talk a little different to, uh, and you have been talking about this subject. You are brave enough to talk about this subject in not only on your LinkedIn post but in multiple channels as well. I do not understand it very well. Uh, when people say mental health, they say that it's a very sensitive. It is a very sensitive topic. But how it is related? I mean, people have their personal issues, their problems, and they do it. But when you related this thing to the corporate world and the professional, a lot of them say yes.
Sachin, I'm having trouble hearing you. Your voice is breaking up.
Oh,
Can you try
uh,
now? It's good now. Yes, it's good now.
it's good. Okay, I was talking about mental health, Vitesh. Is it
Yeah,
clear?
go ahead with your question.
Yeah. All right. So my question is, I mean, I I want to understand what is. I mean, you related this term to professional, and people agreed that they are going through this phase in their career as well. Uh, I want to understand what needs to be done to be preventive towards not facing these phases, and if you are in, how smartly you can come up and talk about it or get resolved these issues, because it's sometimes big disaster that you cannot even recover from that. So, what is your take on that thing?
Mental health in many cultures, in many geographies, talk about India, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, our neighborhood basically in the South Asian community, in the subcontinent, in Southeast Asia, especially. And now, of course, the rest of the world. Mental health is seen as a taboo. People don't want to talk about it because, very quickly when somebody says anything related to mental health, people are very quick to judge that person and put a tag saying, oh, this person is crazy. Or in Hindi, they would say, Are pagal hai. Okay, and it is somehow seen as derogatory. Okay, and that is something that people fear. So when somebody is going through a mental trauma, they don't express it, thinking, "Arey, people will judge me, people will say bad things about me, people will look at me in a derogatory sense," and that is something which holds them back. And it is there in a lot of cultures. It is there very prominent in in the IT world. Okay, mental health along with physical health has, in my opinion, equal importance, if not more. And people think that if we work in a certain industry in the technology space where people are so intelligent, people are so wise, they build such fantastic solutions, they are building very complex products, they are testing very complex products, so they must be really intelligent, and intelligent people cannot go through mental health issues, right? Th- these expressions are very common. People have this understanding somewhere. They think
Yeah.
that, oh, people are safe from mental health problems. But let me tell you this, and this is purely based on my experience, my personal experience. There is a lot of challenges in terms of mental health that people go through in their professional career as well. Okay, a couple of years ago, I was subject to bullying at work. I was subject to mental harassment at work, and it was really a struggle. Okay, it was not just a struggle for me, but for my entire family, and it pushed me so hard. And I have no qualms about confessing in front of all these people. And I know this will be live on YouTube. I've said this on other public platforms as well, that I was pushed towards thinking about suicide. Okay, it's that bad. And yes, I have gone through those thoughts, and thanks to some very good people around me, especially my mentor, who pushed me out of it, who bailed me out of it. And I was like, otherwise you would not find me here. Okay, it is so bad. It pushes you to your limits. Okay, and then once you come out of uh, that thing, okay, there is still post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD is what they call it. The trauma is over, but there is still stress, which lingers on and which carries on, and it has stuck on to me for quite some time. Okay, I used to get nightmares. I would wake up in the middle of the night, even though the trauma is over. That thought will wake me up. I could not sleep well. I would wander around the house. I started forgetting things, and things were a mess. But then I chose to speak about it. It is always important that you speak about it. When you speak about it, there are people who listen to you with intent. Some people may not be able to help you immediately in providing a solution, but the very fact that you are letting it out will release your stress. And when I started doing that, what I noticed is that a lot of people came to me personally and spoke about their horror stories.
Yeah.
Okay. I did a talk at Eurostar last year and I spoke about mental health. And I could not believe that a testing conference as big as Eurostar accommodated a talk on mental health, but they did. So very kind of them. Okay. And I was able to talk. My talk was very well received. And immediately after my talk, one guy came. He just hugged me tight and he started crying. And I asked him what happened. He said, I'm thankful to you that you are telling me, you are telling us your story. And then he told me his story of how he went through mental trauma at work. Okay, because that is exactly what I was talking about. Okay, and then following day at the same conference, a lot of people met me after my talk the very next day, and they started talking to me about it. And I realized that no, this is not just limited to me. So,
Yeah.
so Sachin, the thing is, when you go through these kind of emotions, it is best that you choose to speak to other people. Okay, you might not find an immediate solution, But the very fact that there is somebody who's listening to you with empathy will give you that comfort. You are able to let it out. Okay. And if anybody who's listening to this wants to talk about any story, to me, I'm always there to listen to you. Okay. I don't promise that I will solve your problem completely, but at least I will listen to you. I can promise you that.
Great. That's great. And you mentioned about mentor. You mentioned about good people around you. You mentioned about friends that you have. They help
Yeah.
you to. And I think this is really important to have good people around you, not only for living the life, but also to face this kind of situation in your life, whether it's your personal or professional.
Yes.
Great. And I, like I said before, I asked you are brave enough to talk about this thing, and it's very much needed. People in the comment also mentioning that there are people they do not speak about it because of some reasons, but then it is important to talk whenever you get that forum wherein you can speak about it. All right. So previously we discussed about this test case part, and Richards, you want to ask about what is your reasoning for not using test cases? I know that you have mentioned in the
Joe, first
yeah.
of all, very nice to see you here. I have a lot of reasons why not to use them. 10 of them I have listed in my article. But just to give you my perspective here, uh, the thing is that when you are thinking about test cases, okay, and if you look at the ISTQB way of test case writing, it's like you make an Excel sheet and you make different columns and you put
19 columns.
serial number, test case ID, test case name, test case steps. You are working in 2 weeks sprints. If I take Scrum as an example, in 2 weeks you don't have the time and the luxury of writing them all down. If you are spending so much time in filling up those Excel sheets, when will you test? Is the question that I want to ask you. Number one. Okay, so the basic reason for not using detailed test cases is to find more time to actually test, then rather than spending my time in filling those Excel sheets. Okay, when I say test cases, I'm referring to these detailed test cases. It doesn't mean that I don't design tests. I design tests and I save them as test ideas. And I could use something very simple as a handwritten note or a mind map to make a note of what I am testing, what my objective is. Okay, what I'm trying to do, what I'm trying to achieve. Okay, and also what happens is when you talk about test cases and the way we are taught as per ISTQB or other, uh, these standard bodies which teach us about this, they always have a tendency to tell us that test cases can either pass or fail. But that's not true, right? A test case cannot, or a test, when you did a test in your school, in the chemistry lab, when you did a test, the result was never just a pass or fail.
Yeah.
It could be anything more than that. It could give you relevant information. You are testing to find information. You are testing to learn more about that product, that application that you are testing, right? That is the goal, to learn more, to find out more information. The goal is not just to fill out a template and say pass or fail. If you are looking for that green or red mark in your Excel sheet, well, God bless you, but that's not the goal, right?
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of decisions are made or based on an all green Jenkins report these days. That's that,
Green tick syndrome.
yeah, that's the ultimate reason for failure. You have to move away from that, start looking at your testing more objectively as to what you have learned. What have your tests revealed? You may have discovered certain unknown things which were not even documented in your requirements. What about those? So you've got to be smart enough in recognizing that, and that's why that's one thing. The other thing is you are not restricting yourselves. You're in the beginning I spoke about curiosity and imagination. Let your curiosity and imagination feed your capabilities. Why are you restricting your thoughts to those written test cases when you're testing a product? Why are you not curious enough to explore more and find out how it would behave if I change my behavior towards it? How
Yeah.
will it give, what kind of results will it give if I look at it objectively, right? So those things. So that those are some of the reasons. For the rest, you can read my post. I should do my promotion as well, right?
Yeah, no, that article
Thank
is
you, Joe,
really
for the
nice.
question.
All right, so here is one of the favorite topics. Yours and mine, of course. A lot of people are thinking about the future of testing and how AI will render us all jobless. What is your thought on that? I
I can,
remember one
I
of the panel discussion that you had.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. I can tell you one thing. I can tell you one thing about this question, that this question is written by a human and not by an AI, because that's a typo in it. Because there is a typo in it.
that's a, and it's a question, by the way. AI does not ask
No,
questions.
AI can generate questions for you. You can ask
Oh,
Chat
okay.
GPT to ask questions. It will ask you
Oh,
some.
Chat GPT, yes.
We will talk about Chat GPT as well. Well, the future of testing and how AI will render jobless. AI is not going to take any jobs. People having knowledge of AI will take away the jobs. AI
Hmm.
will not take the jobs.
Good. Yeah,
Those who can use AI effectively and efficiently for their benefit will take the jobs. Okay.
absolutely.
Uh, the other day I was watching one of our colleagues from the testing community made a post, made a YouTube video of how he was able to generate test cases and test scripts and Selenium code and everything using ChatGPT. Okay. And it made me wonder, if ChatGPT is doing all of this, we don't need you. Why are you doing
Right.
it? Anybody could come and do it, right?
Yeah.
The person who has imagined the product can ask ChatGPT to do it for you. Then why are you sitting there and making this effort? Right? That's the question.
Right.
So you've got to be smart enough to understand that no, that is not the kind of thing that you are expected to do from ChatGPT. People went, gaga about ChatGPT and said, "Oh, you know what? I can generate this code, that code." But have you actually asked ChatGPT? Was it tested? Did somebody test ChatGPT? You need a person to test it, right?
Yeah.
As a tester, your job is not going to be taken by anybody. Okay, somebody who can use these technologies well, somebody who's smart enough to generate. I'm still not saying that ChatGPT does not do a decent enough job in generating test ideas or anything like that. ChatGPT will give you test ideas.
Yeah.
ChatGPT will give you code, but you will have to be smart enough to go and look at those test ideas and use it as per your context. You have to be smart enough in tuning that piece of code, in making sure that it is in line with the coding standards that you have for your product, that is inline and it can be plugged into your piece of code. But for that, you will have to be smart enough to understand that code. So you will need to be constantly thinking about that.
Yeah.
Right?
I think somebody I read somewhere they mentioned ChatGPT will take your job similarly. The calculator is
Again, we are losing you. Your voice is this thing.
what? Hello.
Again, yeah. Yes, Sachin.
Okay. I was just saying that I read somewhere that they say that ChatGPT will take your job similarly. The calculator has take job from mathematicians. So it's not going to happen as such.
No, no, no,
I
no.
see a very
Make no mistake. ChatGPT is good, but you need to learn to use it
yeah
effectively to help you do your job
helpful.
better. It
Yes,
can
yes.
help you do your job better. It's like automation. Okay, automation is what? It is a tool. It will make you better and more efficient as a tester. If you use
Right.
AI, AI is also a tool. It will make you more efficient as a developer or a tester or a writer or even a doctor. It is good. It is only going to help you increase your efficiency, but it will not take your job. Don't worry about it.
Perfect. Thank you. There's a question from Parul. Hi, Brijesh. What factor determine the ROI of testing, not the automation, but testing? And on what basis can we say that we have confidence in what and how we have tested and given green signal for go live? On what basis?
Okay. A very interesting question. Okay, so ROI, you are definitely thinking that you have made some kind of an investment towards testing. Okay, testing, in my opinion, is more of an insurance than a direct equities investment. Insurance is also one kind of investment that you're making. You are securing yourself. You're making yourself safe enough from a disaster to be detected in the field. So, ROI for testing could be the fact that the risks that you have mitigated through your testing are not encountered by the user, right? That is one big return on your investment in testing. You are trying to make sure that you meet with the risks before your users meet. You are trying to make sure that you deal with the problems that your software may run into through your testing before anybody else encounters those errors. You are trying to make sure that you are solving the customer's problem, right? Through your testing, the solution that you have built is actually solving the customer's problem or not. You're going to make sure. And that is exactly what is going to give you the ROI, right? That is the return that you're going to get as an investment towards the investment that you've made for your testing. Now, for the next part of the question, on what basis we say that we have confidence in what and how we have tested and give a green signal for go live? Okay, first of all, as testers, I don't think we are the right people to give a green signal for go live. As testers, we are in the business of getting feedback and giving information or that feedback to the stakeholders. The stakeholders will take that decision on whether it has to go live or not based on the information that you have given. Okay, sometimes you may have given them a set of new enhancements to be worked on. Sometimes you may have given them information saying that, you know what, this piece of software or the product that you have built is junk. It is not solving anybody's problem. There is a challenge, right? So all of this needs to be understood well enough, and only then you can say that, yeah, okay, it's ready for go live. But as a tester, you giving a decision on go live doesn't make sense to me, to be very honest. Okay. Now, on what factors does it depend, or when you are confident, when you have made sure that you have, you know, enough confidence that you have tried to mitigate the most probable risks. Okay. When you have made sure that the most number of high priority bugs or the bugs which are recurring or are causing a lot of trouble are solved. Okay, that's when you should be confident about. You cannot deliver 100%, defect-free product. That's never possible. No
Right.
product. So it's a matter of you being able to collect as much information as you can during the period in which you have tested and giving it to your stakeholders so that they can take a decision based on the data that you have given. It can be their choice not to make it live or make it live after 10 days or make it live in the next month or whenever, right? So that is their decision. Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks. And I think Arpita is saying the point that you have also mentioned that people should go green, save environment rather than projecting reports. Brijesh, we have already crossed 1 hour. I hope you have more 15-20 minutes.
Yes,
I want to
yes,
cover
yes.
a couple
I,
of
I,
more
I
pointers.
I have a
Okay.
lot of time. Don't worry. I have a lot of
All
time.
right. Okay. So we talked about career path a lot, and you have been discussing about the resume building. There was a whole lot of mission was there for 1 or 2 months we had on the test chat community. We also talked about the job description. We also talked about notice periods and everything. So currently there are two type of people in testing industry that at least I am facing the questions from. One is people who are not testers but they want to be testers, somehow they want to change And second is people who are in testing, they want to be sure about how to grow, in the same track of testing career. So what is your advice to these people, considering that entire industry of technology is moving to the AI/ML on the different directions, and now automation being mandatory skill and all those things are there. So what is your advice to the people who want to grow in their career as a tester?
Stick to the basics first. Okay. Understand
Well said.
testing. Understand testing. Okay. Understand testing. Be an expert in testing. You should be able to you should be able to test as much as possible. Okay, as good as possible. You should be able to um, find those small problems that bothers the user. You should be able to understand what is the journey of the user, what is the user going to do. Okay, you should be able to interpret those, run your tests, find the probable errors or the risks that they are going to deal with, and then go up to your team and say, you know what, this is what my user may run into. This is the set of problems that I am finding now. And then, you know, you build that nice software that will make you a strong tester. So focus on being a better tester first. Then comes the technology part of it. There is no denial in the fact that, you need people with automation skills. There is no denial in the fact that AI ML is capturing the hearts of many, and people will need those AI ML skills as well,
Yeah.
right? There is absolutely no denial in those facts. Yes, people need those skills. You need those tools to empower you to get to become a better tester. Like I have been saying, automation, AI, ML, everything else is just a tool that should not become a goal of your career. Your goal should always be to be a better tester,
Right.
right? If you do it with the backing of AI, ML, automation tools, blockchain technology, or anything else that you want to learn, domain knowledge, all of that is there to help you. That will increase your efficiency. That will make you a more effective tester. You will be able to express yourselves better. You will be able to solve more problems. You will be able to tackle bigger challenges.
Yeah.
But your focus is just on saying, okay, you know what? I see in the job market that automation testers are getting this. So let me learn Selenium if I can crack this interview. You may learn Selenium, crack the interview, but then struggle at the job. You don't know, right? A lot of people come
Right.
to me and say, you know what? They asked me Selenium, but they don't have any Selenium work in my project. What do I do? They still have testing work. Why can't you test?
Correct.
Oh, because I learned Selenium for the interview. Why did you learn Selenium for interview? Instead, if you would have learned testing, if you would have learned domain, or if you would have learned Selenium in a way that you could extend it to different languages, then maybe you could make it adaptable in your current context. There are people who have
Right.
learned Selenium and Java, and their project is in .NET. So if they have learned Selenium, why can't they learn C Sharp and make that effective in their context? Who's stopping? Right? Like I said,
Right.
testing, learning, for learning, sky is the limit. You can learn as much as you want. It is us testers who think, and we're like, oh my God, I have to learn only this technology. Nobody's saying you have to learn only that technology. I mean, so many years into automation right now. It's been so many years. People were learning UI testing 20 years ago. People are still learning UI testing. People are still doing Selenium, Java UI testing. Why can't you go deeper and automate stuff? Now,
Yeah.
of course, people have started talking about APIs and stuff like that. Okay, why can't people go one level down? Okay, let me go down even further. Let me look at backend testing as well. Can I automate? Can I automate through the various layers? Can I use automation to generate my test data? Why do I need to use any other tool? Why can't I generate my own test data? Why can't I generate my own test reports? Why can't I use AIML for some analysis that I want to do? Nobody is stopping you from doing that.
Right. I think the point you said, people are preparing only for the interview. That is actually the problem. The
Yes,
entire mindset of
yes,
just preparing for that 30-40 minutes so that they can get the job,
yes.
but eventually they do not understand the
Or
reality.
even if you see, and I'm saying this openly, people may criticize me in the Telegram group, but if even if you see the kind of questions in the TTC Telegram group, it is specific to their project, their product.
Mhm.
The very question, you know what, I'm getting stuck here. I mean, we are so used to fast food these days. We want fast solutions for everything and then done. We are not thinking long term. You're not
What do
thinking
you call
how to
Maggie
become
generation?
healthy. You're not thinking on how to become healthy, eat healthy for a longer duration. We are thinking, how do I eat in that moment and stop my hunger? How do I find a solution? And that's exactly what happens. Okay, so this
Yeah.
this is this is more of a mindset problem, Sachin. The
Yeah.
whole thing about learning. Okay, if you want growth in your career is not that one job or that one project. Your career is
Absolutely.
an entire time span where you are going to go through different jobs, do different projects, look at different aspects of life. And that's why you need a whole lot of knowledge. You need to know a lot. You need to constantly keep learning. So that is the thing. There was a beautiful comment from Abhijit, I think, and I liked it. His comment, his candid way of admitting that he doesn't agree with my point of test case not being required. Well, Abhijit, it entirely depends on your context. Okay, in your particular context, you may need test cases. Now, for example, if I am testing a pacemaker or a driverless car, I will definitely need test cases because in that particular context, I need details. I need a step by step procedure, right? So I definitely need test cases in that context. What I'm saying is that I have been against this idea of no test cases or no detailed test cases, which is as per the so-called ISTQB guideline. Now, I must admit, and I said this openly in a conference last year, Sachin, you were also there, that if there is any concept, then I am the person to oppose it. For example, manual testing, I say no manual testing. People say test cases, I say no test cases. People say ISTQB, I say no ISTQB. Okay, so I am quite popular for that. So yeah, that's the thing. So to your point, Abhijit, test cases uh, may be required in certain contexts where it is, say, life critical software or a software in the fintech industry, okay, where you have standard operating procedures. However, in most cases, you can do just with test ideas or test scenarios. You do not need um, test cases. That's been my way of working for the past decade and a half almost, and it's worked well for me. And and about my title and job, I don't know if my articulation or storytelling has got me to where I have. The only thing that has got me to where I have is my testing abilities, and I think I've done well, Sachin, in the past 23 years.
Yeah. But I think Abhijit has made one point which I also wanted to ask you is people refer you for the public speaking things that you are doing.
Mhm.
Not only speaking means in the conferences, but you write posts, you talk in the shows, panel discussions, conferences, and then so can anyone be public speaker?
Yes.
Because people struggle with the content, and then if they want to, what is that which is uh, I mean everybody want to be definitely, but how they can be a good public speaker, or how they can start this thing, because I've seen you are doing like amazingly. There is no any testing conference that I know you're not part of. So how, I mean, how people should do it?
Okay, so I got that question in two parts. The first part is, can everybody be a public speaker? Yes,
Yeah.
everybody can be a public speaker. Everybody can be a public speaker because you are empowered, because you are a human being. You are
Hmm.
empowered or blessed with that intellect and with the capacity to express yourself. So you have to recognize that you have that capacity to express yourself. So you have to start expressing yourself first. And for
Yeah.
that, you need to learn the art of storytelling. Okay? Tell stories. Everybody, every individual on this planet has many stories to tell. Every day in your career so far is a story in itself. You have to find a way of expressing it. In these tech conferences or meetups or any panel discussion or any debate that happens across the industry, if you are confident enough and if you are able to express yourselves, you will find that there are people who relate to that story. So you have to find that those
Right.
relatable aspects and bring it out. And once you start doing that, once you are able to express yourselves so that people are able to relate to your stories, then you will get the necessary confidence to do it more and more, over and over again. It comes with a lot of practice. You have to constantly be talking in front of the mirror with yourself, with your family members. Make them sit down, listen to you. Okay, with your friends. Sometimes your friends may get bored, but that's okay. If you want to make it big, you have to practice hard. There is no shortcut. Okay, everybody
Right.
wants to be a public speaker. Everybody wants to get that limelight. Okay, that spotlight should be on them. And the only way to get that is through nourishing your own self and, again, feeding your own capabilities constantly. You have to fuel it constantly by saying, okay, I want to get there. That is my aspiration. For that, I need to work hard. I need to be a better speaker. I may start speaking. Initially, I may fumble. I may get nervous. But somewhere I have to overcome that fear, right?
Yeah.
I remember first time when I went on stage, it was when I was in class sixth, and I had to read the book review of a book called 101 Dalmatians. It's a book, it's a small story book with 101 dogs in it, and I had to read the book review. And in those days, in school, we used to wear shorts as a part of the uniform. White shirt and blue shorts was the standard uniform. And everybody, the entire school who was sitting, because I was doing it in the school assembly, could see me shivering. My legs were shivering, and everybody could see that. Okay. And I made a mess of the entire talk. But when I went down, my English teacher, she just put her hand on my head and said, "Well done, Brijesh." She
Wow.
said that. She said that. And then that day, I realized that there is somebody who's always behind you, backing you up. Okay, so you've got to trust that person. And after a point, you realize that even if that person is not with you, it is you who's backing yourself up. Okay, so I believed in that, and I was proud to make a couple of years ago during the 25 years reunion, and I told that man that today I'm addressing conferences with so much audience. He was so proud of me. So, it is an experience. It is nice. It feels good. Sometimes we fumble, sometimes we make mistakes. Even now, I run short of breath, blank. In one of the conferences, I went blank. I just didn't remember what to say next. Okay, but I stood there on the stage. Okay, and I wrapped it up saying, okay, on the topic, do you have any questions? I asked the audience for their questions without saying much. And I got questions. Okay, I got a little bit of criticism after that. Oh, bad topic, bad speaker, whatever, blah blah. But that's again a different opinion, right? So it's cool. I learned from it. I'll be better.
Yeah, I think it's very important that you said you need to believe and start, and then if there is a problem in the beginning, do not stop. So here is one of the questions related to low code no code tool. Arpita is saying that the industry is trending with the various low code no code tools. What is your opinion on the low code tools over the legacy where automation scripts are very much important to automate tests?
Ha. Okay, very interesting question. Arpita, I have myself played around with more than 80 plus low-code, no-code tools. They are here for a reason. Okay. Not all of the tools which that use scripting are able to solve all our problems. There are certain context-specific problems which needed people to work on these unique low-code, no-code tools to suit their context, and they started building it. And almost every other company started building tools for their context. Now, when they built tools for their context, they thought, oh, it might solve other problems. So they made it public use. And that's how the low code, no code industry came about. And today there are 100 plus tools available. I have played around with 80 plus. There are still more. There are more coming up every day. And, I've been fortunate enough to advise a couple of them. And now they've started to do well. Okay. To mentor a couple of people who started this journey with low code, no code tools. Their tools are doing well, their solutions are doing well, they're solving a lot of problems. However, I feel that you still need to learn coding. Okay, if you can learn coding to a level where you can do descriptive programming and can write your own code for your tests, nothing like it. Absolutely nothing like it. If you can do it in a language which your developers understand, if your architects understand, again, nothing like it. It is a very good skill to have. You will certainly do very well if you know that. Now, when you bring in these low code, no code tools in your context, and if you are able to tie them up together with these, scripted automation tools, then you are solving a lot of problems. First of all, you are solving a problem of resources or skilled resources. So when we talk about these, scripted tools, there are not a lot of skilled resources available in the market. For example, there was a period when I was looking for somebody who could uh, use Selenium and C Sharp because we needed that kind of tester in the tool, but we did not find. So in the market, there were not many people. So what we decided was we will train people internally. However, there were goals that the customer had which had to be met, and that's why you have to go with we had to go with a particular tool which was solving that problem of getting started with automation. And while that tool was getting plugged in and we were driving the automation, we also started training other people in the background in Selenium and C Sharp so that we could get enough resources at the end. So you have got to pick your tools judiciously, make use of them, and they're only going to help. So these tools are here for a reason, and you need to be smart enough in choosing which ones.
Yeah, I think in one of my companies, we were also using low code, no code, but also had a team who was working on coding as well. So I think it's a good balance of understanding what is working for you, and then you can
There
go.
is a very good comment again from Abhijit. He's saying testing is all about storytelling. Yes, Abhijit, indeed. Storytelling is a very important skill for a tester to have. If you're a good storyteller, you will be successful, and other things go for a toss. Not really. Storytelling is one of the aspects of testing. It'll bring out your testing stories so that you're able to express yourself better in front of people, in front of the customer. You are able to tell them the problems in the form of stories because people understand stories better than anything else. And about the blame game, I don't think I'm the right person to comment, but yes, there is a lot of blame game in the industry, especially when it comes to production bugs. Testers are the first ones to be blamed. So, so yes, that's a very nice comment, Abhijit.
All right. Brijesh, am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Okay. I am struggling with the internet. I don't know what is the problem. So there is this one thing which I was discussing with one of my friend in office as well. When I asked, I told her that I'm going to have a show with you today. So we see that you post at 8 p.m. in when I'm in India, 8 p.m. I see you're posting. It could be 2 2 a.m. at your side, and then you also would do a LinkedIn post on 8 p.m. in India. I don't know what is the time. How you write so much? Do you have 48 hours in one day, or I mean, how you manage to do all these things? What is the secret of this omnipresence that you have everywhere where this testing and the other things are there?
Well,
How you do that?
well, you have a plenty of tools to help you do that. LinkedIn
Okay.
now has a feature called scheduling posts. You can schedule your posts. Okay, so
Okay.
LinkedIn probably thought of people like me and it started this post. So what I generally do
So you
is
do that. You
no,
schedule
so
your.
yes, yes, I use the schedule posts tool. I and I used to use
Okay.
third party tools. I've stopped using them. Okay,
Okay.
so when I get an idea, I just write what I'm thinking at that moment. Okay, either in a Google Doc or in any form of notes, or I email myself. Okay, whatever comes to my mind, I just write that thought. And then when I have a little bit of luxury of time, I schedule these posts. So they go at different times. Okay.
Okay.
And it is pretty random scheduling. I sometimes schedule it for like 4 hours from now, or 6 hours from now, 10 hours from now, whatever. And I have quite a few posts which are scheduled already on my LinkedIn. So I don't have to ensure
Okay.
tomorrow,
So
like for
21 tips are already done from your side, right? That's what you're
not all
saying.
21 of them, but at least day 11, if I remember right.
Oh,
Okay,
great.
so they're already there. I think day 6 would have gone out by now. I don't know. Okay, so day 7, sometime in the morning tomorrow will go. Day 8 again Sunday morning will go. So like this. And so at random times you will see posts, and that's why people are so confused. You're like, are you in office? Are you in the middle of a meeting and using LinkedIn? No, I'm not. It's a scheduled post that is going out. Okay, I may be in a very busy meeting and suddenly a LinkedIn post comes and people are like, "Hey, you're supposed to be in the meeting," and then I have to just raise my hands and say, "Look, my phone is also not there with me." So the magic is happening somewhere in the cloud.
Great.
Okay. So yeah,
That's
your
nice.
omnipresence. Well, yeah, that's the secret. So yeah, you use
Again, the technology, like you said.
yeah, yeah, you use technology to your advantage, right? It is always technology is always there to make you more efficient, and that's what I believe in. This is automation, right? So, this
Yeah.
is automation. So
Yeah. The talking about the enablement and empowering, I think there is one another point that I want to ask you about, and I think this could be my last question to you, which
I
is
can still go on, Sachin, if you have the time. I can still go on.
I mean, we can certainly discuss about the things that I have not planned, but then this is one of the planned thing which I wanted to ask you.
Sure.
Uh, Brijesh Dev as a person is now being referred as a community builder, somebody who believes in community and also not only enable people through community but started enabling communities towards this welfare for testers or well-being for anybody who want to believe in the testing craftsmanship. What is your mantra for this this thing which is called community, and how it should, people are not getting benefited because they do not believe, they do not spend time, they do not, I don't know how they are doing it. So what do you want to uh, tell them as a community builder, because they also have responsibility towards community, right? As an audience. So how you, let me frame the question again. I have a lot of how you see yourself to facilitate this knowledge and teaching part to the community, but then how you expect people to receive it as a learner or as a contributor towards that. I hope I've made a good question.
Very long question, Sachin.
Yeah, I know.
I'll try to find a short answer to it. Okay. Um, Community is never made by one person. So I could not become a community by myself. Community is always about people. Okay. It's all, it is got, you've got to get that in your system first. Okay. So the moment you stop thinking I, me, myself, you are ready for community work. That's the first prerequisite. You've got to get out of that I, me, myself mode. Okay, it's all about me. I want to be seen. I want to be visible. I want to be popular. I want to have 1,000 likes. I want to have 50,000 followers. Look at me, I'm so popular. This mindset needs to disappear. If you're serious about community work, then that's something that you need to get rid of, because community will give you that limelight that you're looking for automatically. Let it come to you organically. If you say you see a lot of posts on Twitter, on LinkedIn. I mean, Twitter, I quit a few months back, but on LinkedIn, you will say people writing, "Follow me for some very good posts." I will follow you if I find something insightful. Just because you say that you are writing great content does not make it great, right? If I write, say for example, at the end of every post of mine, for such great insightful posts, follow me. Somebody will say, "Oh, this was a rubbish post. How is it insightful?" Right? A lot of times, even I read my post and say, "Oh, this was rubbish. I could have done better." And if I had written "follow me for such insightful post," people would have laughed at me, right? So that has to go away first of all. Okay, everybody can be a community builder. Everybody is smart enough to contribute to the community. Okay, when you are talking about community, it is about doing something for the people around you. It is
Right.
about making others more effective, efficient in their work. It is about helping others to shine. So if you want to become a community builder, then you have to have that habit of helping others to shine.
Yeah.
It's not like it's not like me saying, okay, you know what, Brijesh Dev should shine every time. No, that's not the idea. The idea is that I help people in shining and growing. They help me in growing. We, have you heard of Bridget Hyacinth?
Yeah.
She is a very popular figure on LinkedIn with more than 4 million followers.
Yeah.
I had the opportunity of meeting her in here in The Hague in 2019 personally. I know her personally, thanks to her. She's such a big celebrity, but she had the time to meet someone like me, which was a very big deal for me. And I have that proud picture, I circulate it
I
on.
know.
I circulate it. I show off by circulating on LinkedIn time to time that I have a picture with her. She keeps saying we rise by lifting others, and I so believe in her that when you lift others, you automatically get lifted. We don't realize it, but it does happen because that good gesture will come back to you. And if you notice very carefully at your work also, when you are pushing your colleagues to do better, they will always put in a good word for you to your manager. You know what? I had a conversation with Sachin. He's such a great guy. And so your manager will start thinking, oh, Sachin must be doing some good work. Every third person is talking about, every other person is talking about Sachin. Sachin must be doing some good work. And a lot of times this becomes a testimony for you. So when you go for that performance feedback or that review with your manager, you have that already. So you are rising automatically by helping others. So when it comes to community, especially if it is outside work, why don't you help others? It's not difficult. You have some knowledge, share it, brainstorm your ideas. Okay, if somebody is struggling for some ideas, help them. If you can't do it yourself, put them across to somebody who can solve the problem for them. Okay, say, okay, I'll arrange your meeting with so and so person, and so person can probably solve your problem. That way, you also learn, that person also learns, and somebody else can share it,
Right.
right? So it is easy. So yeah, that's where
Yes,
it
it
stands.
it really sounds easy, but there is
It is
this
easy.
other part of it when we like, you know what I mean, when we arrange a lot of these training sessions, teaching sessions, webinars, people do not turn up, they do not join it, and that's, you always say as okay, let's keep doing our work, that's what we have been doing, but then it somewhere it is I don't know, it is also a problem for, like, if you remember, Jyoti has a great series of AWS, and how many people turn up to attend that, at least on live, we know the numbers, right? So it's also responsibility for audience or somebody who is part of community, they, if they really want to learn what is being taught. So that's again a big question that we have in front of communities. All right, so
Sachin, on that, I want to give an example which people will be able to relate to.
mhm,
You've seen the movie Three Idiots,
yes,
right? You remember the scene where
yes,
um, our central character, what was his name?
Funsuk, Funsuk Wangdu, Amir
Uh,
Khan.
Amir Khan. Okay, whatever his name was, Chanchad. What was his name?
The real name was Funsuk Wangdu,
Yeah. So
and
when he
then
was in
Jyoti
college,
was Chan.
he said something to that guy, the boy who used to help them, Millimeter or
मैं
whatever.
अपने कमजोर,
So he said,
okay,
school. He said about something about school, right? Knowledge is
एडमिशन भी
everywhere.
चाहिए,
हर
करेक्ट,
तरफ ज्ञान बट रहा है, बटोर लो. So knowledge is everywhere. Just go and grab it. So it is
yeah,
on people. If you really want to learn, knowledge is everywhere. There are opportunities that are available constantly. If you
yeah,
don't grab that knowledge, somebody else will, and somebody else will grow with that knowledge. When Jyoti was doing those series of webinars for 25 continuous weeks, despite having COVID, despite having poor health, at times she did it.
yeah,
Okay. And that knowledge is out there. There are people who refer to it, who get benefited by it. Okay. So she did a good job. But, it was sad to see that the audience failed to take advantage of that opportunity.
that's my point.
Okay. So it's time that we think, if we really want to grow in our careers, we should not let go of such opportunities if they come along. I mean, AWS course for free, nobody will do.
Right.
People are making a lot of money doing Udemy courses. Yeah, and here is somebody who's answering your questions live. What else do you need? Just an example for you.
Yeah. No, I mean, we have been discussing about this thing, and even Teapot is so. He always talk about this. Why people are not attending? It takes time to speak to somebody who's arranging it, to somebody who is, available to broadcast, and like you said. But anyways, that will remain a problem unless we have a proper solution to that.
Yeah, we need a change in mindset, Sachin. That's it.
Right, and how to do that is what we are struggling still. I mean, anyways, will definitely talk about. I think this free word is also a problem. When people say it's free, they do not, but then we tried other way as well. Okay, so I think these are the segments that I have decided that we will talk. Then, any last words from your side uh, to the industry, where it is going, anything that you want to change, basically how the things are, you know is in different direction, or if you like any specific thing that testing is moving to, that people are attracted to something. I don't know, just an open kind of question, if you want to talk or send message to anyone about any specific thought.
Change, yes. I would like to change a lot. I would
Hmm.
like to change, or I would like the people to change their mindset, okay, towards testing. I would like to the managers to change their mindset towards testing, especially towards automation. Please don't ask for 100% automation. It's not possible. So all those managers who are listening to this, who are thinking that 100% automation is possible, um, please don't talk about it.
Right.
It is not possible. 100% automation is not possible. Change your attitude towards learning. If you want to grow, you have to learn. There is no shortcut. There are
Yeah.
no two ways about it. You will make the most of it if you focus your energy on learning, if you focus your energy on sharing. Whatever you learn, teach others so that you learn more. Because, oh, yeah, definitely 500% automation. Yes. Oh, my God. Yeah. So,
Yeah, you're
if
saying.
teaching is the best form of learning. If you want to learn more, then teach others. Okay, always take the opportunity. Talk to people. Talk in
Hmm.
terms of stories. Share your stories. Share your journeys. And sharing these stories reminds me that there is a show on the Test Chat YouTube channel called Tester Speak, which has which has
Promotion.
which has it's our channel after all, right? So we need promotion.
Yeah.
So the third season had to be cut short because of my poor health, but season four will come soon. Okay,
There is
so
a reason I call you marketing master.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So I must do right. So,
Yeah.
uh, so yeah, season four will come soon with more guests. If you want to share your story as a tester, well, write to me. I will definitely have you featured on the Tester Speak podcast. Talking of Tester Speak, the series of live events continues because in April you are going to get a big bonanza of a series of live events, and I get to become the host once again. So I'm looking forward to that. I started doing my research, and I've also started talking to my guests for Tester Speak. So you will come to know soon.
Yeah.
And I want to already announce that on the 6th and 7th of uh, of April, there are going to be two back-to-back live events. Okay, one is going to be What Lies Beneath AMA with one of the leaders in the testing space who has built a test management tool, a test management solution, which solves a lot of our test management problems. So that is going to be on the 6th. And on the 7th, we are going to have a discussion, all things about automation, with one of the most popular voices on test automation in the testing world. So 6th and 7th of April, 8 p.m. IST, keep yourselves free. Because if you're going to keep yourself busy, then you're going to lose out on two very big events. So yeah, that's it.
Right. That's great. All right. So I think 1 hour 45 minutes is good enough. I mean, if we want to talk, we can talk for days.
I can go
A
on.
lot of things are there. But I mean, I'll see what is the response overall, and then if I mean, people are saying how you guys will have it in one part, so maybe there could be another part, and there are other things that we need to discuss. We could have people were saying that, can you please speak in Hindi as well, because this is what we like when you do. We had a Hindi version, and we were talking about it, so they liked the conversation which we had in Hindi. So people were
Oh
also
yeah,
saying
oh
that.
yeah, Sachin, thank you for reminding me. Thank you for reminding me. And here's another shameless plug-in, a shameless promotion. So for all our listeners in Hindi, we are going to be doing a series of these live events in Hindi, or rather in
Yeah.
English, to make people's life easy. And those are going to be fun conversations. So that is really going to come your way. So watch out for the space in test chat group where we are going to be announcing these soon,
All
and you're going
right.
to see a lot of stuff again
You know
in
what, Brijesh? You are born host. You do not allow anyone to host at least.
No, no, I was just marketing. I was just marketing. I was being
I know.
as I was being not only the CEO but the CMO, the Chief Marketing Officer
Yeah.
of TTC. So yeah,
Right. So perfect. There are a lot of promises that we have made, and we already have decided how to do that. It just when we'll do it. Like Vijay already said, 6th and 7th of April is already planned, scheduled, and you'll see it. And then these series will also be coming, and we'll restart our already happening shows that we have. But I personally enjoyed this whole conversation. It was my first experience of hosting, and then hosting somebody who is already a well popular host. I was nervous. I am throughout the show. I was, but then I really enjoyed learning from this entire conversation. So thank you so much, Brijesh. Thank you for enabling a true enabler that we have, and thank you for guiding us whenever needed. Thank you for discussing about all the topics which are so important for everyone. And I'm sure we're gonna have more such sessions with you for everyone. Thank you for everyone in the audience to join. Thanks for your questions. You can see this recorded, video on the Test Chat community channel. Thank you so much.
thank you so much, Sachin. And I
Perfect.
must tell the audience one more thing. This session was simulcast on YouTube and on LinkedIn. So if you want to
Yeah,
catch it on LinkedIn, also you can catch it. So yeah. So
perfect.
do,
Thank you.
do, do subscribe to the Test Chat YouTube channel for more.
Yes. Thanks. Cheers. Thank you.
Cheers.
Bye bye.
Thanks. Thanks. Bye
Have a good
everyone.
day and a happy weekend. Bye. Namaste.